What's the point of finding out if I have autism or ADHD at my age? Hi, I'm Brett the Audio Boss. On this channel, I talk about ADHD and autism in the workplace. I have ADHD and autism, and I've been in a corporate leadership position for over 10 years with leadership training. Recently, someone stopped me to ask me a very specific question about my autism and ADHD diagnosis. And it's a question I actually haven't received before, but it really made me stop and think. Why at your age would you go ahead and get an autistic and ADHD assessment? Why would you want to find out your diagnosis? What is the point of getting a diagnosis or even a self-diagnosis at your age? And it kind of took me back to the point that it made me a little annoyed. So today I'm wearing my crabby shirt because I'm a little crabby about this topic. If you're a late diagnosed individual like me, you probably went through a similar process like me, where being on the other side of knowing that diagnosis, whether it's self-diagnosis or formal diagnosis, it's like getting the owner's manual. It's like finally understanding and having endless aha moments. Certainly, there are struggles. There are continuation of struggles. There are new struggles on the other side of getting the diagnosis. There are new struggles upon understanding what autism and ADHD are and how to process and do those things. However, not knowing on the front end, things were a lot harder. Things were, frankly, a little bit darker. To oversimplify why this matters, it's about getting your needs met. It's about understanding yourself. It's about finally discovering why the struggles were there and why they were so much harder than they needed to be. On this side of getting an autism diagnosis and ADHD diagnosis opened up many other things. It opened up the knowledge that there are comorbidities with ADHD and autism, that there are other health things that come up because of specifically being neurodivergent, and knowing how those things connect and how they intertwine, understanding my anxiety so much more because the anxiety is born out of the autism and ADHD, looking at the struggles that I have in the workplace about why I can't do this or why I can't do that, or why is this harder for me but not hard for this colleague? Why do I struggle with this thing? It's about having some sense of understanding who I am and why I need things the way that I need them. It's about having my needs met, but it's also about giving myself permission to go, oh, I need it done this way. I need to do things this way. I need to be allowed to stim. I need to be allowed to feel this feeling this way. I need to be allowed to verbal process. You know, being someone who verbal processes, it can be kind of annoying for other people that are around me. But now that I know that I'm a verbal processor and I know that that comes from my autism, then I can manage the expectations of the others around me more specifically with more kindness. I can say to someone, look, I just need someone to verbal process with. You can tune me out. You can be a part of this conversation, whatever you're comfortable with, but I need like 10 or 15 minutes to just ramble on this thing so that I can kind of get it out of my system. You know, but when you're undiagnosed, again, even for self-diagnosed, which is valid, especially if you're like me and you're a high masking individual. I'm a very high masking person, which meant I spent years and years and years hiding behind that mask, not having my needs met, but also not understanding what my needs were in the first place, not understanding what my likes and my dislikes were, not understanding that there were certain things that I need accommodations for, and not understanding that I would give so much of myself for other people's needs and other people's likes and other people's interests, that it kind of suppressed those likes and interests that I specifically had. That took a really long time to actually go, well, now wait a minute. What are the things that I like? What are the things that I need? What is that thing that makes me me? I was starting to learn and understand what is autism, what is ADHD, and in some cases the comorbidities like OCD helps me understand all of that and all of myself. Now, it takes years to figure these things out. You never really stop learning. That journey continues and continues and continues. And I strongly recommend people do that process with a trained therapist who understands autism, who understands ADHD. You know, I've had experiences with therapists who don't understand, and I have therapists that do. And I can tell you, having a therapist that does understand is a night and day difference between understanding and processing and all these different things. It also allows me to relieve myself of years of negative self-talk and years of self guilt, feeling like I couldn't do something, feeling like I wasn't smart enough, feeling like I wasn't capable of doing one thing or another. When in reality, I am capable of those things, but maybe I need to do them a different way. Or maybe I really don't have an interest in that thing, and so why am I beating myself up over it? Like, for example, I really don't like making budgets at work. I need to know about the budget, but I don't like making the budget. But I know people who love making the budget, who live to make the budget. They love an Excel sheet. I hate Excel sheets. Great. I'm going to go pair up with somebody who loves to build an Excel sheet and also loves to build budgets, and I'll ask them to help me through this process so that I can get what I need to get for my job and they can enjoy doing the thing that they enjoy doing, and we both win. Another question that tends to come from this is, well, if I'm a late diagnosed person or I'm trying to learn about this thing, am I taking resources away from somebody else? Not necessarily. Getting to know more about yourself is not taking a resource away from anybody else. Maybe all of this is a journey just for yourself so that you better understand yourself and you can self-accommodate. I know for me, I hate amusement parks. I hate them. I do not ever want to go to another amusement park ever in my entire life. I do not want to go to a fair ever again. I cannot stand anything along the lines of like rides and all of that stuff. It's too loud. It's too obnoxious. I do not find joy from that thing at all. Knowing that those are huge issues within my autism about things that I just cannot stand, and how it impacts my autism and my feeling and my well-being and all these different things, I can actively say, no, I don't ever want to go do something like that. Now, I have friends who love those things. I have friends that really want me to go to those things. And so I go knowing I will hold their bags while they go on rides. I know now specifically that if I'm going to go to an event, even an event that I want to go to, I need to build in recovery time for after the event. I need to build in a mental plan for when I'm at the event, ways to accommodate myself so that I can manage my way and manage all of my super duper autism awareness stuff while I'm there to kind of take a toll on me while I'm doing that thing. I never would have known any of these things. I never would have understood myself. I never would have understood my likes and my dislikes had I not found my way into autism diagnosis. And even at first getting that self-diagnosis of figuring out, oh wow, these things really track for me. These things really make sense for me. Once again, learning through self-diagnosis is not taking resources away from anybody. It's helping you learn more about yourself. It's you figuring things out for yourself. Now, specifically, as I say at the start of every video, I am a boss. I'm in a corporate leadership role, and I have a team that reports into me. And what I've learned on the other side of my diagnosis is what a hot mess I was pre-diagnosis. How my ADHD would drive me crazy, how it would take me to all these different places, how my autism would make me think different things or have certain specific rules or do this or do that. Now on this side of it, if someone starts to question or wonder, rejection sensitivity dysphoria comes up a lot. I can stop and recognize the triggers when it's like rejection sensitivity. Am I overwhelming my team? Am I going off on a verbal process? Am I going on a tangent? Am I not being helpful for other people whom I manage? Am I making things more difficult for my team? Now I can stop and recognize those things, but also more importantly, I can articulate these things to my team. So if I do something odd or I do something strange or I do something that they can't make sense of, or I can do any of these different things, I can stop and say, you know what, I'm so sorry. That is an accommodation that I need, or that is my autism, or that is my ADHD, or that is my OCD. That is these things. Now, I don't go into huge detail about explaining those things. I just sort of explain that, because of my autism, my ADHD, I do this as opposed to that. I can, let's work together, but I am able to communicate those things out to somebody, which makes a huge difference from not knowing on the other end, feeling bad about myself, having a miscommunication or somebody getting upset about why is he acting that way? Why is he being that way? Now we can understand. Now we can have a dialogue. Now we can figure those things out and sit down and talk and process and figure out a better way forward to having more productive conversation, a more productive work relationship. Now, of course, that comes with a lot of trust. It gives my needs voice. It gives my accommodations voice. Things I didn't have a voice for before. That's the ultimate benefit to knowing. Again, whether it's self-diagnose or formal diagnose, that's what matters. So if you're on the fence and you're sitting there wondering, should I pursue this further? Should I not pursue it further? The other thing I will add, and I've heard this from multiple assessors, I've heard this from multiple people who go through this process. Neurotypical / autistic people don't spend time thinking about this. They don't really question these things. They don't really sit with these feelings. They don't really sit with these questions. Sometimes what happens when we're on the beginning stages of self-diagnosis and even the formal diagnosis, we have a tendency to gaslight ourselves. We have a tendency to convince ourselves, I don't need this, or, oh, I'm taking resources away. Oh, this isn't for me. This is for somebody else. I went through that process as well. No one spends this much time thinking about it, researching it, watching videos about it, learning about it, understanding it, unless there's a connection, unless somewhere within that space there's something calling to you. That little part of you that starts to tell you, oh, we don't need to do this, or oh, this isn't for me, oh, it's trendy. That thing that's causing you to repel, that's connecting to masking. That's connected to that part of us that masks, that says, oh, this is for somebody else, not for me. No. Back up, pause, ask yourself, am I getting my needs met? Is there a feeling there that I'm suppressing? Is there something that I'm turning myself away from that I feel inside of me that I should be exploring further? If so, keep going. If no, okay. Will it bother you tomorrow if you don't think about this? Will it bother you later today if you don't keep questioning this? Do you want to keep questioning this? If you want to keep questioning this, keep going. Keep having those conversations. Keep having those questions, because that means there's something there. Now, I can't diagnose you. Certainly, this video isn't going to diagnose you, and none of my videos on my channel can diagnose you. But it's okay to keep going. It's okay to keep asking. It's okay to keep looking into that. A lot of neurotypicals and autistic, they don't think about these things. They don't spend this much time thinking about it. So if you are, there's probably a reason for that. And it's okay to lean into that. I'm Brett the Audio Boss. This has been kind of a random, but it's one that came up recently, and it's one that I really wanted to address. So I hope this was helpful. Please be sure to check out some of the other videos on my page. If you have a question or a topic or something you'd like for me to specifically cover, especially in the workplace with autism and ADHD, let me know in the comments or shoot me a note. Be sure to like and subscribe, because that really helps my channel grow. Thanks for watching, and I hope this has helped.